versus unmindful. So what is mindful? What does it mean?
To understand what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. And what part of your brain is working?
Your prefrontal cortex.
Yes. And then what does it mean to be unmindful? Yes.
You don't care about what others, how they feel.
Okay, you're not caring, you're not thinking about others and how they feel.
You can't really, you just say stuff out of random, you're not really going, you don't really mean it on accident.
Sometimes you're rambling, sometimes you say something that you don't mean. What part of the brain is creating unmindfulness? The amygdala, yes. Good. So now that we understand how our brain works and what is mindful and unmindful, let's see if we can identify some mindful and unmindful behaviors. Pick one. All right, read it loudly.
Trying to do too many things at the same time, like walking and texting.
Walking and texting. Sometimes I see somebody walking. I don't know if I'm guilty of it or not, maybe. And then next thing you know, they have no idea where they're going and they slam into the wall or slam into something. Is that mindful or unmindful?
Unmindful.
Unmindful. Okay? Very good, because you're not paying attention. You fall into something or hit something, and then next thing you know, you sense danger.
Looking at someone's face when you're talking to them to see how they're reacting to what you say. Oh my goodness, is it mindful?
Yes. Looking at someone's face to figure out how they're reacting. So you may be saying something that you think is kind, but if you look and see their faces, then you can explain to them. So you're being mindful. You're looking at someone else and thinking about how they feel. Good.
When a friend sends you a picture and you immediately send it to another friend. Unmindful?
Unmindful, not thinking about what you're doing. So a friend sends you a picture or a text and you immediately forward it on to somebody else without thinking. Unmindful. Good. Let's see.
Liking things because other people like them. I think this is unmindful.
Mm-hmm. Why would that be unmindful?
Because really you're not really wait, no, it would be mindful. Yeah, I think it would be mindful because
You were right the first time. Unmindful. If you just like something or even do something. You see somebody walking down the hall and somebody's books are on the ground and you see somebody kick them and then you walk right up and kick them. Is that mindful or unmindful?
unmindful.
Unmindful. Why is that unmindful?
Because you're not thinking about the persons who dropped their books.
Mm-hmm. And you're not thinking about your own choices and your own opinions. You're just basing your actions or your thoughts on somebody else's.
But it could actually be good also
Okay.
because maybe you see one of the more popular kids going and dropping something like just dropping something off at a food shelter or something like that.
Uh-huh.
Then you want to do it. That's kind of a good reaction.
That is a good reaction. So when you think that through and think that that's a good idea and you would like to do it, that is a good reaction.
If classmate trips in the hallway, you begin to laugh.
Classmate trips in the hallway and you begin to laugh. Unmindful. Why is that unmindful?
Because it's not really kind of something else. And you laugh at other people.
Yes, and you're not thinking about their feelings. You just go with your immediate reaction without thinking about how it might affect them or how they might feel. Let's do one more. Who wants to do it?
Making small changes as you practice a new skill so that your performance gets better.
Making small changes as you practice a new skill so that you get better. Mindful. How many of you have ever let's just go with studying. You just had a science test yesterday. So if you're studying and then you go back and you notice that you didn't learn what you studied, the mindful choice is to do what?
Maybe study in class a bit before this test actually starts.
Okay, do something different with your studying, right? Either study earlier or study a different way. So the same thing that she just said, that's mindful, is looking at what you're doing wrong or what you could do better and making changes. Instead of being unmindful and just keeping on doing the same thing even though it might not work or even though you're not getting better. Okay. All right, so any questions before we move on and practice mindfulness? Why is it important that we practice being mindful?
So you can be kinder, but while being honest very much.
Okay.
So in like a bad situation, sometimes you're not exactly mean or bad.
Okay, good. So being kind, making better choices. They can be making better choices with friends in how you react and how you speak. Making better choices at school. Maybe thinking about paying attention or thinking about how you're working with your group. But these things just don't come to us, just like you didn't just pick up your flute and learn to play it, or you didn't just start playing football and were the best player on the team. You have to start making choices to practice. And just like you have to practice reading or study for science or anything else, you have to practice being mindful. It doesn't just happen to us. So there's many different ways that you can be mindful. Practicing your breathing helps you bring yourself back to being mindful. Grounding. Anybody know what grounding is?
It's where you you just take out all your anger on something that wouldn't have that doesn't really have any feelings. Like you just like scream into your pillow or something like that.
Okay, that might be a good strategy to kind of calm down. When you're really upset also, it helps our brain to calm down when we focus on different parts of our body that are touching something. So closing your eyes and focusing that my hand is on this stool or that my feet are on the ground, it brings your mind back into concentrating on what you can control. Then there's focusing on your senses. Maybe when you get really upset, stopping to focus on what you see and describing that in your head. Or what you smell, a pleasant smell. Not even if it's, maybe you're not smelling that right now, but something that you enjoy to smell, like fresh flowers or baked cookies. So there's all different ways that we can practice mindfulness. And then when we practice that, we're more likely to use that in those moments when we flip our lid. So I'm not telling you that in every moment that you flip your lid, you should stop and breathe and meditate. But what I am saying is that when you practice these things in those bigger situations, or you practice even small things on a daily basis, if you're having trouble focusing in science class, maybe a little bit distracted, writing a focus word, writing the word focus, or writing another word on your paper that when you start to get distracted, you bring yourself back to. So it's really about creating mindful habits so that when the big situations occur, then you are able to respond calmly and appropriately and think about your responses before they happen. So we're going to practice some mindfulness, some guided mindfulness for students. Okay, so this video is going to give you the directions instead of me. So listen closely to the video.
Peace out. Time out.
So it has some words, it has some sounds, and some different pictures. And there's all kinds of these online, different ones.
Hello,
if you don't like this
Jamie
one, there's
here.
plenty that you can find.
Welcome to Peace Out. This is a quick practice you can do anytime to help yourself feel really good. First,